This is a video on how to use the perimeter and area song in action. So the song goes, perimeter plus is the frame of the window, area is the squares, or length times width. So let's assume this is the window I'm talking about. So if you wanted to make this window, which would be the brown, I'm trying to represent like that, like the wood. Your dad would get one of these tape measures, right? And he would measure it, or your mom. So they'd measure it and they'd find out that's 6 inches. So they'd need one piece of wood that would be 6 inches long. And I'm going to abbreviate that. And then if they measured this side here, you'd see that's 3 inches long. So I'm going to have 3 inches. Plus, then they'd measure this one. And that says 6 inches. So I'd have to put 6 inches. And then the last piece of wood I'd need would be this one over here, which says 3 inches. Now I know you're not going to really, this would be like a window for a dollhouse or something. So what you're going to do now is you're just going to measure, you're going to find out how much wood you need. So you add these up. 6 plus 3 plus 6 plus 3. What I like to do is to say like 6 plus 6 is 12 inches. And then 3 plus 3 is 6 inches. So I know it's going to be a total of 18 inches. So for this picture window, the perimeter would be 18 inches. Now, to find the area, sorry, my battery was running low. The area is the inside of this window, which is blue. Now, I don't know, you couldn't measure that with this. Like, how do you measure that? If you were going to be putting in carpet in your house, you would measure it, you would put in squares, or tiles, you would put in squares. So to measure this, we have to use squares. So I like to use my Cheez-Its, and the song goes, perimeter plus, it's the frame of the window. Area is the squares, so we're just going to count up all the squares. And we have 1, 2, 3. And you can do this at home. Just ask your parents to buy some Cheez-Its. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's one row of 6. Then we have another row of 6, kind of like an array model. Whoops, sorry, that moved. 2 rows of 6, and the last row, which would be another 6. So to count that up, I'm just going to use my skip counting song, and I'd say 6, 12, 18. So I know the area, there's 2 ways to do area. So the area is 18, and I'm not going to just put inches because it's not inches. Inches would be a length, okay? And this, I definitely didn't use a ruler. I used squares, so I'm going to say square inches. Or I could write that as, I'm going to put in parentheses, inches to, ooh, okay? And I'll use, this means square inches, okay? Now, you also, sometimes the song goes, perimeter plus it's the frame of the window. Area is the squares, or length times width. So if we look at here, the length of this is 6, and the width is 3. So, or length times, perimeter plus it's the frame of the window. Area is the squares, or length times width. So if I look up here, I know the length is 6 inches and the width is 3 inches. And then if I multiply 6 times 3, I still get 18 inches. So there was 2 ways in order to figure out that problem. So Now we know perimeter is a length and can be represented in customary units, which would be your ruler or your tape measure, okay? Or it could be measured in metric units. So customary units are inches, feet, miles, yards, okay? And metric units of measure are millimeters or mm, centimeters or cm, meters or which is m, or kilometers, which is km. And this is how we represent the customary ones. Area is not a length, it's a space. We measure area in metric and customary square units. So you can see I've written the same thing. I kind of ran out of room here, but customary units are square inches, which is inches squared, the two. Square feet, which is feet squared. Square yards, which is yards squared. Square miles, which is miles squared. This is millimeters squared, abbreviation for centimeters squared, meters squared, or kilometers squared. Okay, so area is squares. This would be a basic area problem. What is the area of this shape? Well, there's two ways to do it. We could measure the squares. So it looks like I have 1 row of 5, 2 row of 5s, and 3 rows of 5. Again, it looks like an array, a multiplication. Okay. And then if I was going to solve that, I would say area is equal to, it looks like it was 5, 10, 15 square feet, or feet with it 2. Okay, that's feet squared. Okay, so that was one way, counting the squares. Or you could do it by perimeter plus its frame of the window. Area is the squares, or length times width. So we're going to write area is equal to length times width. Area is equal to, the length was the longest side usually. Length is long, so that's 5 feet. And the width is 3 feet. And if I multiply these two together, I get 5, 10, 15. I get the same thing. Sorry, my hands are covered in ink. Okay, so that was a basic area problem. Okay, now let's go over a basic perimeter question. What is the perimeter of this shape? Perimeter plus it's the frame of the window. So this one I could say perimeter, and I'm going to plus. So I know I'm plussing. So all I'm doing is I'm going to make the frame. Okay, so I have 4 feet. And then I have another 4 feet. And then I have another 4 feet. Whoops. And then I have another 4 feet. Now this looks like repeated addition. So I could just say 4, 8, 12, 16, right? Or I could write it, since it's repeated addition, I could write it 4 times 4. But it's 4, 8, 12, 16. 16 feet. And notice how I did not square the units, because I did not use squares. I used a length, okay? All right, I hope that helps. I'll be doing another video on intermediate and advanced area and perimeter problems later. Thank you. Bye.